think that's the only people you guys would ask about. And then other than that, I'll open up for questions.
Yeah, Coach, could you discuss the opening of Nate Landman's window and what that process might look like?
Open his window today, so obviously he'll go out and get a chance to go out there and get some physical work with the team, be able to do some different things, get a chance to move him. You know, obviously you got a couple of weeks before you got to make a decision whether you put him on the actual roster to play him in the game and all those type of things. But we'll see where he is. We'll progress throughout the week, and we'll see what's going on with Nate. And hopefully it's always good to get back a player.
What do you make of Ruka Roro's performance last week, and what did he do in your eyes that got him on the field down this person?
It just really what you just said made me smile when you said his name. You know, really fired up for him to get out there, get his first reps. But it started a little bit before that with me. He started in practice. You know, started watching him in practice, how he prepared us when he was on scout team. Started how he prepared versus Chris Lindstrom, who I think is one of the best guards in the National Football League, if not the best. It started with his work ethic and how he approached the whole situation and how he kind of groomed him to get ready to go out there and play. And he went out last week and had some productive snaps for us. Had a lot of production. I believe it was 4 tackles or so. Really using his hands, shedding some blocks, making some plays, being a significant contributor for us. And it's no different than we thought about him when we drafted him. And to get him to be able to go through our process, you know, being fortunate to have the guys that we got up front to be able to make that process as slow as you can possibly have it, so you can make sure that your guys are ready to go out there and perform at the highest level, I thought was really important for us. And our coaching staff doing such a great job with him preparing him for our games.
What went into the decision to take the opening kickoff upon winning the coin toss?
Oh, man. That's one you don't usually get every day. Terry, no, really, honestly, a little bit of analytics. We got some people that do a lot of things when it comes to computer-generated thoughts and some of those different things. And some of it's based on your confidence and your ability to go down and get an opening score. Some of it based on some of the analytical data that you can receive from your people. Some of it's based on just the feel that day. But that day it was a little bit of both. It was a little bit of all of it. Felt really confident going out there with our home crowd, some of those type of different things. There's a lot that goes into that, but definitely that was part of it all.
Is that something maybe you'll consider this weekend, going to a road environment and wanting to start fast?
You know, I hate the term start fast. I shouldn't say hate, but I don't like the start fast mentality, because what does that mean? We started fast. Oh, we're good, coach. Let's get out of here. You know, but, you know, like I do like having guys get out there and have the ability to get out there and get things going and moving in the right direction. So I don't necessarily like the start fast term, but I will say it is nice when you can get out there and get off going in the right direction with your team, getting those guys going the right way you want them to go.
What are you liking so far from Darnell Mooney?
It's probably easier to ask me what I'm not liking about Darnell Mooney than it is to ask me what I am liking about him. But I'm liking all the things that we thought we can get: the separator, the man-to-man winner, the route runner, the intelligence, the smart human, you know, the cerebral kind of leader in that room. If you say Drake's the emotional leader, you know, you would say Mooney's the cerebral leader within that room. And just how he thinks about the game. He thinks about it almost like a quarterback.
Can you give us some examples of that? Because Kurt was talking about that a couple weeks ago about how Kurt feels like Mooney keeps him on his toes, even though he's the quarterback. About I better be prepared because Mooney might call me out on something.
You know, I can't actually say what he did to Kurt, but you can just see how locked in he is in the game plans, and he's got that cool for school attitude in meetings. But man, he gets everything. You know, like, and he comes out of those meetings and he absolutely knows it all. He's extremely locked in on the detail of what we're trying to do from a holistic standpoint, and then his ability to have conversations with Zach and you know obviously Ike and all the guys in his room, just is elite company. You know, I was fortunate enough to be around Cooper Kupp and his relationship he had with Matthew Stafford, and I won't compare us to those guys after 5 games, but I definitely see some of the similarities and some of the thoughts and the thinking behind it and how you play the football game at that position.
How do you evaluate Jesse Bates' ability to make an impact play when you need it? Because it seems like somehow, some way, when you need him to do something, he comes up with it. I felt like that was overshadowed.
He is amazing, isn't he? That's just what I feel like. You know, when he's out there and he makes some of these plays, and it's happened every single week. You can pick out a significant play from Jesse Bates, whether it be his knockdown pass coverage, or whether it be another knockdown pass versus Travis Kelce a couple weeks ago, or the timely interception at the end of the game versus Philly, or just the punch out, the 2 that he had within this game, and we end up getting one of the 2. You know, he just makes timely plays, and he's one of those people that just needs the ball, not just wants it. And he goes out and he finds ways to be productive every single week, and it's really amazing. I kid him, mess with him all the time. I say he's the best defensive player in the National Football League, but realistically, man, if you go look at it, he fits in that mold, and he's one of those guys that goes out there and tries to be the best defensive player every single week.
Yeah, Coach, what are your key areas of focus and improvement this week's practice going into the Carolina game?
Oh, man, it's a lot of the repetitive things that you want to always get better at. I did like the improvement in the run game when you talked about defense last week, other than outside of the big run that we hadn't been giving up. I did like the natural improvement. If we could take away that explosive, we'd have been kind of on the mark of where you want to be in a rushing game. But you got the explosive. You can't take it away. I can't put my Monty Kiffin, but you got to give them the explosive. So they got that. So we got to get back to what we've been doing really well with the shoot awareness to keep them in the shoot. On offense, you want to be able to get out there and establish the run when we can establish it. Obviously last week, Todd almost dared us to throw it. And you went out there and you threw it that many times and had that kind of success. But you're not going to be able to win every single football game like that. So you got to be able to go establish your bases when you want to run it, how you want to run it, when you can run it a little bit better. But I think it's just a constant improvement all around. And I think every game and every week will kind of be dictated on the terms that we kind of go out there and set.
We saw major upsets in college football this week. So how do you prevent, obviously a professional athlete, prevent kind of like almost overlooking or when you're going against someone that's kind of struggling right now?
I think the National Football League is kind of a little bit different when it comes to that, right? Everybody's different. I got so much respect for the Carolina Panthers and their coaching staff, and I've coached with a lot of those guys, Ejiro and Jonathan Cooley and Todd Wash, and just all the guys in their defensive staff. And I better not have any letdown because I know their thought process, I know their mindset, I know what they're doing, and I know less about the people on their offensive staff, but I definitely know the style of offense that they play and how they want to go about their business, including their head coach. So we will not. There won't be no letdowns when it comes to the preparation and how we go about our business, and that's what we do. We try to trust our preparation. You want to go out there and hopefully get the results that you definitely want to have.
A lot of guys after the game said, we didn't blink, we bend, but we don't break. When you talk about team identity, how do you think those things are feeding into what it's becoming?
The coolest part is I hadn't been able to talk about it. I talked to you earlier, just throughout the process when I kept getting peppered by you guys about what is the team's identity. You don't decide that as a coach. You don't, right? It's the guys got to go out there and play and put it on tape. And what they put on tape has been exactly that. From the first game, losing that game by 6 points to whatever, losing by one possession to the Steelers. Coming out the following week and going out there and really not blinking again versus the Philadelphia, I'm about to say 76ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Having the ability to do that stuff within the games, whether it been New Orleans or whether it been the last win versus Tampa. The guys just don't blink, even in a loss versus Kansas City when you don't get the 1 yard run. I don't think we had any fights on the sideline. People were looking at each other, pointing the finger at each other. It was a collective agreement to go out there and figure out we lost that one and how do we win the next one. I think that's just the mentality that they're forming for themselves.
Defensively, how much are y'all game planning around Chuba Hubbard alone?
Chuba Hubbard is tough to deal with. He's running the ball really well. He's been a productive player. I think he went to Iowa State, even since his days at Iowa State, I believe. And is no different. He's a hard runner. He's a very skillful runner, particularly inside the tackles. He's broken a couple long runs this year that's done really well. And I think it's no different in game planning for him than it is to just stop the universal up front with their O-line, targeting things the right way, doing it the right way. We got to be in our fits and we got to be in our gaps and make our hits. And if you're not, he'll certainly exploit that.
Raheem, speaking of the defense, the Falcons ranked last in the NFL in total pressures and pressure percentage. What do you make of that, especially considering the team made investments to upgrade in that kind of area this offseason?
You can't build it all in the same day, and I probably should have brought that up in the improvement area. That's definitely something that we're definitely focused on when it comes to improvement, and we got to get better in those stages. But we got to play in those games also, right? We haven't played with games with a lead. A lot of our games have been played from really normal D&D. We've been playing those games where it's been, I don't think any game we've been in so far has been either a 10-point advantage or 10 points down. I think everything's been a one-possession game. So, all of our games been kind of tied in and locked in. Come on in, man. Don't worry about it. It's too late now. You done interrupted us. I think all our games been kind of been locked and loaded as far as a three-point game. So, some of the production will come if you ever get a lead before, and you can play from that spot where you can pin your ears back and rush the passer, and you really get a chance to evaluate some of those things. But, we played some pretty tough games, but not to make excuses. It's definitely one of the areas you want to improve.
How are the Panthers different with Andy Dalton under center for them?
Not much. You're just talking about a veteran that can go out there and really execute some of the stuff that they were doing, and BY not getting the opportunities to do that at a full full scale yet. So, like, you know, it wouldn't shock me. He's able to do some things well and come back and be able to play and be a really productive player in this league, particularly learning from a guy like Andy. You know, Andy's been doing it for a long time, the Red Rifle, and he's won a lot of games in this league. So, you know, nothing you're going to give him is going to shock him. So I think it's the experience, the ability to play, in this league and have a lot of success. And now being able to go in there and really execute some of the offense that them guys probably been doing, that he's got a lot of reps at that he can do.
Coach, what is the new definition of fourth down territory? We see more people going for it on fourth down.
You know, Led, it just changes from week to week, right? You know, some of us, it's kind of the same thing that Taryn just asked about taking the kickoff, right? Some of it's analytics. You know, some of it's a feel for within the game. Some of it's a feel for just the structure of how things are going, right? But four down territory now is a little bit different than it used to be, right? In particular because where these kickers are just knocking 60 yards out the ballpark like it's not a problem. So, you know, and where you get the ball at when you do kick it out of bounds on a touchback, right? You get it in the 30, you get one first down, man, you're almost in four down territory right off the back. So all of those things change within the framework of the game based on the simple kickoff play, you know, just being moved up 5 yards, you know, and it's just, you know, explosives, getting down there, opportunities, number of possessions, all of those things kick into play when it comes to some of those different things. And, like, you know, those decisions got to be made in the game. And we made a couple good ones, and I had a couple bad ones. So, like, we'll continue to go in that realm.
Going back to Nate Landman for a second, when
Yes.
he's healthy, what kind of an impact does he have on this defense?
Energy, leader, definitely one of our strongest tacklers on the defense. Certainly a guy that, you know, can solidify some of the things you have with the run issues. He's just that kind of guy because of how he uses his hands, how he fits, how he plays. He loves football, and he's a pain in the neck when he's not playing.
How much has Kirk's veteran leadership helped y'all in those close games?
You know, it's hard to just say Kirk. You know, I think, part of, you know, not playing as well as you possibly can play when you go somewhere is you put too much of that on you. And I think once you get to the point when you can lean on Drake, when you can lean on Kyle, when you can lean on Mooney, when you can lean on those up front guys like Chris Lindstrom, you can lean on those guys up front, Jake Matthews, that can really just help you in those tough crunch time situations to lean back and trust your training. I think those are the most important things. But Kirk, he's been outstanding. Like we talked about every single week, his ability to get better and better every single week has been, you know, exactly what you've wanted from a coaching standpoint.
Coach, last week was a short week, 2 games in a short amount of time. I got a little breather over the weekend. Kind of easy for the guys to slip back into routine and their prep. Is there an advantage to having that little gap extra this week?
I think the only way to answer that is like trust your process, right? Reload and recover. That's what you add extra. But for us, man, the biggest part of it is like anywhere, anytime kind of mentality, right? So like we've started off at home. We went to a Monday night game. We've gone to a Thursday, a Sunday night. Like, you want to be good in this league, you just better prepare to do whatever's necessary to go out there and win football games. And like, I am enjoying it. I am embracing it, right? That's when you're good, that's what happens. That's awesome for me.
If you're a defensive coordinator preparing for the Falcons, does a 509-yard passing game blow up your defensive game plan, or is one week not enough to make that kind of change?
You know, people do what they do, and you have subtle and minute detail changes on how you want to dictate terms on whoever. And I am not going to sit here and game plan against my own guys in a press conference for sure. But I kind of know these guys that we're going to play against. I know the mentality. I know their thoughts. And we'll see if they stick to the guns.
On the other side of that, though, do you hope that opens up some room for your running backs?
I think it's just we've talked about this just throughout the process, right? It's like you got enough players in your team where you guys should be able to ask me every week, why when he's this part of the game plan? You know, the week before was Kyle. This week is probably Bijan and Tyler. You know, if you get another win, hopefully you ask me about some other players and some other aspects because what we were given and what we were taking. But like when you're a good football team, you put healthy pressure on everybody to perform. And I think that's what we got going on right now, which is a lot of fun.
I know you spent some time in Tampa Bay. Do you have any friends or family still down there with Milton, or any of the guys?
What Milton, like we talking about the dude.
Yeah.
Milton blowing through Tampa right now, but I got a lot of family members that are in Tampa right now and friends. they're all, most of them are in safe zones, basically getting away from the water. My daughter was in Tampa. She's in Atlanta now, so she's with us, my oldest. But I've checked on a lot of people down there, and obviously it's not just Tampa, it's Carolina, it's all the people that were hit with Helene, and we just got such a gracious and giving owner, being able to help with some of those things, along with our coaches, along with our teams, and along with all of us. So, that's just worldly problems that you just got to deal with in life every single day, and we definitely are part of that.
Anything else?
All right, guys. Oh man, a universal thanks, Raheem.